known for its big cities and outrageous prices. And it, in some people's opinion, either a great governor or a trash man. And that person in question is Andrew Cuomo. In my opinion, he started off as pretty good governor with some pretty good advice on how to fix inequality. And at the beginning of the pandemic, he did a pretty good job at regulating it. But now with the upcoming nursing home scandals coming out and sexual harassment cases against him, he does not seem like such a great dude. And with the re-election coming up in about more than a year, things are not looking good for him. My credibility for today comes from New York local news and coronavirus stats. The summary for my main points today is that there's possible talk of impeachment, there's those sexual harassment cases, and evidence of a cover-up. My topic and stance for today is that the nursing home death scandal will definitely affect Andrew Cuomo's re-election. First up, number one of Cuomo is that there's a talk of impeachment going on. And my main source for today, for my main point, is Daryl Rouge from Newsweek, which was an article that actually came out yesterday. And there's a quote from a New York Assemblyman, Ron Kim, who one of his relatives actually was in one of the, he actually died in one of the nursing homes. And in his quote, he says, "It is time to be brave, to hold him accountable, to investigate his cover-up of the nursing home information, and that it's time to undo the bad policies that led to unnecessary deaths, and that it's time to start the impeachment process." In this article, it talks about the horrible things that Cuomo's done in his office, including saying the N-word during a public discussion in 2019 and allowing positive COVID-19 patients into nursing homes. And more like this, proving that this dude needs to be impeached. It also did talk about how hard it would be to impeach him, given that there's 60% of Democrats that live in New York, and it would be hard to vote him out, which was only the only time that a governor of New York has been impeached was back in 1913, when William Scholzer was impeached for embezzlement. So the impact of this is, while there's so much evidence to get this trash man out of office, it's not likely that Democrats will vote him out. Along with Andrew Cuomo making some pretty bad decisions as his time as governor, he's also not a great person outside and inside the office. My point being the sexual harassment cases against him, which the source for this comes from New York Times, an article that actually came out today. It looks at 2 sexual harassment cases against Cuomo, one of them being Charlotte Bennett, who left the administration back in November after Cuomo had allegedly asked her about her sex life and if she had ever had sex with an older man, which I think is absolutely disgusting that he would ask that. And the other victim being Lindsey Boham, who was also a former aide, who had talked about how the governor had gone out of his way to make advances at her. And there was also another one that came out Monday about Anna Rush, who also talked about some unwanted advances. And an analysis of this is that Cuomo had actually responded to this, claiming that he did, in fact, say those things, and that he said that it was, quote-unquote, a playful joke. He did say sorry, but this kind of proves that he's not such a great person. And that people now know, along with the scandal, that he also sexualized his former aides and harassed them. And it's very unlikely that they will re-elect a person like that. And you would think that this would be the end, but no. Next up is evidence of tampering with the amount of deaths at the nursing homes in New York. So back in January, the New York Attorney General had said that there was an underreporting as much as 50%, and also insufficient testing of residents and staff at the beginning of the pandemic, and that there was a lack of personal protection equipment, and that over 9,000 coronavirus patients, 40% more than initially reported, were sent into nursing homes. And that's pretty awful, especially since Cuomo recently wrote a book called The American Crisis Leadership Lessons from the COVID-19 Pandemic, which was actually a New York Times best-selling book. So that's pretty horrible that happened, and the analysis is basically that it talks about the investigations going on and the data, and that both parties are pretty mad at this, and which will not look good for Cuomo's record. In conclusion, we have seen how Andrew Cuomo has the possibility of impeachment, has admitted to 3 sexual assaults against him, or 3 sexual harassment cases against him, and looks at the evidence of a cover-up of the deaths in New York nursing homes. And this will definitely have an impact on Cuomo's re-election if he doesn't resign or get impeached. And hopefully together, um, Republicans and Democrats in New York will say no to Cuomo.